Hello and welcome. This is Sarah Bates, Design Training, and look forward to giving you some teaching training tonight using Canva and also social media. So what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen and we're going to go straight into the training tonight. So please bear with me. And here we go. So for those people who don't know me, my name is Sarah Bates and I am a graphic designer and I want to be the design solution for entrepreneurs to grow their business. So tonight is free training and it's learning how to design social media headers for your business. And you may kind of wonder why. And my question is, so what? You've got to ask yourself anything, so what? Now, design is really, really, really important for business. And the reason is you as business owners have got to show up on social and in blogs and in your email newsletters. And if it was all words, it would be really dull and uninteresting. And so images bring a diversity to those words and they commute information much quicker than words do. So social media headers, we see them on our phones small, we see them on our computer screens, and it's first impressions count. And I know that we really shouldn't make judgments, but first impressions do count. Your header image is the biggest thing on the page. It's the biggest thing when it comes up on your phone. And so you've really got to optimize this space. A good header solidifies your brand style and it helps you stand out and showcases you as a professional brand. And that's why it matters. So in this session, we're going to work out how to design the perfect branded social media image. I'm going to explain why, show you some examples, and then we're going to talk about how you would review your existing brand and your style. Questions as opposed to what would make an impression. And then I'm going to dip into Canva and then show you how I would make a header for my social branding page. So when we look at a social media, when we look at this header, we've really got to think why. Who is it to? How can it help me as a user? What am I on this page for? So you've got to answer some of these questions. You've got to answer who it's for, how you can help. Remember, it's always benefit led. And you've got to have some kind of description or a call to action, perhaps. I mean, it might just be a beautiful, diverse image if you're a photographer. But crikey, you're missing a thing if you want then expecting people to have to find your contact details or have to find your website. You want people to have access to that information immediately. And that's where your header can come in. Now, this is my website. And yes, I've got short hair on here and we've had a pandemic year so I know I need to update this. And actually, there's quite a lot of photographs of me with different styles. So I'm not that bothered at that moment in time. The most important thing is the logo and the kind of the colors. So this should be then my key to what my social media headers look like, because there has to be a coherency in visual language. It has to look the same. And the reason for that is because we have to instill the know, like, and trust. So I keep saying this, however bored you are of your images, however bored you are of your font or your color, be consistent, please, because your customers want consistency. They want to immediately recognize your brand and have that confidence to be able to purchase or look at the information. So keep to the consistency. So the first thing for you guys to do is actually review your own branding, actually view it from your customer's point of view. What does your website look like? Is that coherent to your social media? Is there the same colors and the same fonts used, even though there might be different imagery? Does it look vaguely the same? Is it easy to recognize? And is the logo on there? Is it clear? So if you can look at my Facebook page here, then basically you can then look at it on the phone, and you can see that there's a difference there, can't you? But it's still a predominant thing. And you've just got to watch out where on different profiles, on different social media platforms, where your profile image is, because sometimes it can bang in the middle of your type, especially if you look at it in a news feed. 90% of internet users are all looking at stuff on their phones on a regular basis, certainly on social media platforms. So that has to be a consideration when you're doing a design. Now, on this particular page, I'm telling everybody, every business needs good design, so your business can show up better. And I'm promoting my masterclass. And then if we look at what I've got on my Facebook page and my group page, remember these are different. Last week, we spoke about optimizing your pages. Now, this is the one on the left-hand side is my Facebook personal page, and I've got my, and you know that because I've got my face in there, whereas on my business page is my logo for my profile, and this is my group one. So you can see there is a coherency with the colors, with the style of type, even though we're saying a different message. And when you get into LinkedIn here, it's slightly different, isn't it, from the previous one? The type might be the same. I've introduced this script. I'm not quite sure whether I'm liking this or not, but I'm going to go with it for now. But everything else has got to instill that you're on this person's page and you're on the right in the right place. And also, we talked last week about your benefit statements. Get your benefit statements the same on all of them. But today we're talking about headers, and you'll notice the business page LinkedIn is different to the personal page. When we look at our Facebook, we've got our own personal Facebook page, which is the same as a business one, but the group one is slightly different. And this is where it can get quite confusing. And you've just got to ensure that you're saying the same message and it looks the same. When I come to look at all my social media, which, you know, I'm asking you to review, I'm reviewing, I've noticed I've got an old graphic in there. So that's something that I need to do to change to be the same as all the others. And I need to do that quite quickly. And then obviously on Instagram, all I'm going to see is basically the logo in the profile. So what I have done is I have basically set up some Canva templates. And I think in Canva, they already have lots of templates. And it's just kind of bearing in mind, these are the kind of sizes. Now, these are all in pixels, not centimeters, definitely not inches. It's all pixels. And that's the measurement that we use for when we're looking at images and making images on the internet. And the sizing is important because it could cut off some of that message that you've got on there. It could cut off a crucial part of your logo, or it could crop the image wrong in the background. And for me, that's really important. And that's the difference between an amateur homemade header and one that's been considered and that's designed. So you need to get it right. And we need to use templates in Canva, and we need to consider how it looks on a phone and where the profile image might occur relating to that design. So you need to think now before you get onto Canva. Canva is a program for non-designers, and it will not do a great design for you if you haven't got the fundamentals, if you haven't considered things before you get there. And whenever I used to teach design, you know, the Adobe suite is huge and it's creative and it's wonderful. But at the end of the day, it's just the same as a pen. It's just a tool. You have got to do the thinking. You've got to think about what image you want on the background. And you might not choose a final one. You might choose one or two and then be able to have a play around. You've got to decide what words or call to action or benefit statement or website or whatever you want or you don't want on that social media header page. You've also got to have the right type of logos. Now, I recommend when we're using Canva that you use the ping files and you make sure that you've got your logo in full color. And you've also got it in a whiteout version so it can work on dark and light. And you might not have got all those different versions, but you kind of need to do. So go back to your designer or go back to the person who's designed your logo, because your logo has got to be versatile and it's got to work on all these platforms, and it's never, ever, ever should have a white box around it, because that smacks unprofessional, that smacks amateurish, that smacks that you no idea what you're doing and that you are not really credible. So no white boxes, please. And you want to have the same message in all your headers. The idea, as you saw on mine, I've got a call to action about my online masterclass, which teaches you design and Canva, the basics. I have got one saying sign up to my newsletters. I've got one on my group saying this is what happens on Training Tuesdays or Thirsty Thursdays, or sign up to my newsletter or get some design feedback using the hashtag Ask Sarah. So that's important to the group. So maybe your message is slightly different depending on what social media platform and the users that you have on those platforms. So we're going to head over now. I'm going to unshare and then go straight into Canva. And if you've signed up to my newsletter, I will be providing this week links to some of my already templates that I've made up. So they've got some guidelines and some kind of rules, some to be able to, so the graphics on your type, on your, when you put it on a phone and when you put it on a laptop, you know, make sure that there's guidelines there that you can work within, so we're not going to get cut off. So please just bear with me while I stop sharing and then I share again, and then we're going into, oh, we're not, we're going into, hang on a minute. I thought we got all this set up. We're going into Canva. So I'm just going to go into Canva right now. So in Canva, you have a premium, a pro version, which you pay for. And if you are wanting to go into that, please come to me and I've got an affiliate link. I don't get any kickbacks from it. You don't get it any cheaper, but it just means that I've recommended it to you. Or if you go with the free one, I used Canva as a free version for well over a year. And the only reason why I then went to a pro version was because I wanted to produce templates for my online digital courses and to supply to you guys. So that's the reason why. So you've got different ways. If I'm going to go and I'm going to make a Twitter header, okay, I already know my style. I already kind of know what images I might use. And I have a Word document where I list all the things that I want to put in my headers. So I'll maybe list the different statements. I maybe list the contact details, or if I want people to sign up and subscribe to my newsletter. So if I'm thinking about Twitter, actually, just to present myself as a designer, I think that's enough. Because Twitter, there's a lot of noise going on there, and I just want people to know who I am. So there's different ways to go about this. You can go into templates and try and find it. And basically you can go anywhere you want. And if you go to back to home, sometimes it flicks around. You could go all through these and you could kind of, you know, search forever. There's a really quick way. Well, there's two quick ways. One is that you go to create a design and you type it in here. So I'm putting Twitter header. And as I do that, can you see here, there's already examples of what I could click on. And if you see there, it's 500 by 500, which is the size that we had on the slide. So basically it's brought a blank page up. And that might be really intimidating. On templates, you've got these at the side here. You've got for you, quote template. You've got all these ones on the side. And if I was designing this, as you probably are, and just thinking I'm not quite sure what I need to do, I would start to use a template. However, that could persuade you into a whole new series of designs that you don't want to go there. So you need to think really carefully about this. I myself, I know that my social media headers need to all look the same. So I need the same coloring. I need the same design. I need the same fonts. So what I'm going to do, and I'll just move that down a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go, and you'll notice their tabs come up, don't they, on Canva. You can end up with about 500 million tabs. I'm just going to click on the home page, and I'm going to click on all my designs. And I can see there, I've already got some designs in place where it's maybe got my logo on, or it's maybe got the type on there. So I'm going to just click on this. And the reason I'm doing this is because if I've already got a color, a style that I like, I can simply click it, and I can right click and I can copy it. So you don't always have to reinvent the wheel here. You can use things you've already done. So if I now go into the Untitled Design Twitter header, can you see it says it there? If I click, right click and paste, it will paste it in. And you can see I've really cropped that image here. And I might think, oh, do you know what? I need it a little bit smaller because my face is right in the middle of there. And where am I going to put the type? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from scratch here to show you how I would do that. Now, I've already uploaded that image because it's my image. So I'll go, and you always start at the bottom. So I'm going to start at the background, and then you add things in, okay? And that's the reason why you do that. And when you add something new in, you have to make sure that the design is balanced. So if I go to uploads here, and bear with me because I've got lots and lots of photographs. So I'm going to have a look at these images. There's this one. This one, I got a little bit carried away. You'll have to bear with me. So I think I'm going to use that one. And if you see what I did there, I basically just clicked and it appeared. So this is the crop, the edge of the box. And I want to make this as big as possible to go, first of all, to fill these edges, because I can't work with the design unless I'm filling this edge. And the crop really matters. I've got the other side of the window here, which I really don't like. And I've got the door frame here, which I also don't like. So I'm going to just pull these corners, put it a little bit more to make sure that I don't get there. Now, if I'm going to make this all blue, a bit like this one, I know that there's enough space here to write my words. And I'm not quite sure whether I want 1 or 2 flowers. So I'm just going to maybe... Now, at the moment, that's too close. I'm just going to pull that back in again. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. Now, you may know or you may not know, the best way to put this colour on is if you select it and if you go to effects. And this is also in the free version. It's not a paid for. It's called a duotone. Now, if I go to a duotone, it means that this colour is made up of 2, as in duo, colours. Now, I want a blue. So I'm going to click on the blue first of all. And that for me is a little bit dark. Can you see there's a vibrancy in this one and there isn't in this one? But there's also some little lines here. And these little lines basically mean there is something I can change. There's like a filter on them. So if I click on this, it tells me the 2 colors that make up this image. So I have like a purpley blue. So I'm going to click on that shadows, and I'm going to click on the color picker palette, and I'm going to change it to be a purple color. Now you can see that just looks ridiculous. That just looks far too dark. And I need somewhere in the middle, kind of about there. And you only do one thing at a time. So I'm trying to get the color right first of all. So I think the color's kind of okay. And then I'm going to click on the second color. And I know that that has to be a little bit brighter. I'm going to move the hue slider over. Can you see this is the hue slider here? So it goes to a little bit more purpley blue. I'm going to just move that around a little bit. Now, if I was super clever, I'd be able to know the hashtags of my color. But for today, I'm just going to try and guess, because this is probably how you would do your design. So what I don't want is this to be too bright that it causes issues with my type, but I don't want it to be too dark that I can't actually see the image, because I want people to see. It's taken me a long time for people to see my face, and me be happy with people seeing my face. And now I'm everywhere. So that I'm quite happy with that. Okay. And now it comes to actually putting the type on there. So we go to the type tool, and I'll probably want a header. And these are just ideas. You can change everything, but where to start? Do you want big type, middle type, some script, or some dark type? I want a big type. Now, as I say, I am always prepared, or try to be. So I'm just going to hop into Word now and actually copy a heading that I want. And I think for me, I'm going to copy in, because it's on Twitter, and I'm going to tell people what I want. So every business needs good design. You need the design solution for entrepreneurs. And I'm maybe even going to try that script type. For now, it's black. It doesn't work. The whole point of you guys using type is so you can actually see it. If you can't see it very well, if you've put it over an image and the contrast of the image, the background means you can't read all the type, then do something about it. Don't just leave it. Put a block of color behind it. Change the background like I have here, because if I had used that original one, you would not have been able to see the type. In fact, if I go here, and we go to upload, and I put my picture on there and put it down here. And then if I brought this type over here, you can see there's elements already where I can't see this type. And if I select it, and then if I change the color of it to be, say, white, again, there's areas that you just can't see it. So for me, this is a better option, is to make it a color, a brand color. So look how good, look how easy you can see that type there. And I need to change the alignment of this, because to me, it looks odd. If it was going to be centered, I'd need it centered in the image, and then I'm over my forehead, which doesn't work. So I'm just going to select this type and change the alignment at the top. Okay. I'm nearly getting there. So at the moment, if I was to look on here, I would not know which I was supposed to read, because all that type is bold. It's the same size, and I don't know which to read first. Do I read all of it? It looks like a lot of copy. I'm not going to read it. So I need to change the hierarchy of that text. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to enlarge the size of this text. And with Twitter, you get a header, don't you? And it's going to have to go over my forehead, but I really don't like the size of this. And I'm going to change, I'm going to copy. So for me, I use my right click, or I use my keyboards, which would be Command or Control C. So I'm going to copy it and delete it. And then I'm going to go to a text box, and I'm going to paste it. And to make it bigger, I use Command or Control Shift greater than, but you can see, you can just highlight it here, and you can change the type. And I don't know whether that should be a 4 or an F. Okay. So let's just put that out of the way for the moment. So every business needs good design. You need the design solution. Now I'm still not quite sure whether I like this copy or not, but I'm going to maybe put that over here. And for the moment, if I was going to use this type, and I'm going to take the size down a little bit and change the angle. If I'm going to use this, it's going to kind of butt into my face. And I don't think, from a design point of view, whether I like that or not. To me, maybe it needs to be in 2 lines. So every business needs good design. Let's just put that down. Now I want every business needs good design. I want good design nearer. There's too much of a gap there. So if I highlight this and go to my spacing, I can move it up a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is just put a return in there and actually reduce the size of that return so I get that spacing right. Now for me, this needs to go a little bit bigger because I've got need the design solution. I think I'm going to drop that down. So that is Helvetica Light. I'm just going to change that font to make sure that's bold. And I definitely think that needs to be bigger just so it's predominant, and it's really super easy that I want people to look at this. Now, at the moment, I need it lifting a little bit. I want it to just pop. So if you select it, and remember, you have to select to affect it. That's the cheesiest saying that I'm going to say today. Select it to affect it. I've said it all my working life. Because if you don't select it, you can't change it, can you? So if I go under effects here, I can go to something called lift. And it just puts a little bit of a drop shadow behind. Can you see the difference behind that? And I'm upping it a little bit. And all of a sudden, the type seems to pop out a little bit more than it did. And that's just using effects. So I've got that at the moment. I'm going to move it over there. I always try and get this alignment the same. I haven't yet checked this, whether it's going to work on a phone or not, but I would then need to download this image and then upload them to my social media page. And then I would also view it on a phone. Now, if it needs a tweak, just come back, tweak it, because it's really important that you get it right for your desktop and your phone. So you need the design solution. Now I'm just going to put this type in here. Now, I don't know whether I like this type or not. It seems to be a little bit trendy at the moment, and I don't know if I quite like trendy. I quite like the fact that the T connects with one of the letters, but I'm not quite sure whether the entrepreneurs, the design solution, you need, it seems a bit bossy. Every business needs good design. You need the design solution. And you can see I'm really deliberating over the words here because it matters. It matters to me how I'm going to actually use the words to get my message across. For capital. Now, is that any better than that? I don't know, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is because what you need to realize is designers never just make the one design. They may give you the one design that they think is the ultimate one, but they've done a 3 or 4 behind the scenes just to make sure that it works, that to choose which one is the best. So if I go here and I'm putting this there, kind of needs like that. So I've got that one here. I don't think it needs to be bigger, because can you see if it goes bigger, it's really fighting with the every business needs. It kind of doesn't want to hang out too much out there either. So I'm really deliberating here, aren't I? And that's what we do. That's what designers do to get it right, that minute detail. So for me, I've got 2 headers here. Let's run it down in size so you can see. They're exactly the same, except for this element here. And again, I can see every business needs together. You need the design solution for entrepreneurs. I need that line going up slightly. And can you just see, it's just tiny. That's too much. You just want it to be there. And the reason for that, that's a Gestaltist principle about proximity. So I know immediately looking at this, that information there is more important because it's together, and this information is secondary. And my eye immediately goes and knows what to read first. If you've got any deliberation whatsoever, certainly if you had you know, this, let me just copy this, Command or Control C down here. You know, with the best will in the world, that is not going to work because you cannot see the type. So for me, I've got these two. And to be honest, I actually think I'm quite straightforward. I like it precise. I don't like any kind of ambiguity unless the design needs it. It certainly doesn't need ambiguity here. So I think I'm going to go with this design. And I've got it up here at the top. I'm actually going to change the name of this and I'm going to call it the Sarah Bates Design Twitter header. I'm doing that now. We had an SEO specialist on today in a live, and I've always recommended everybody save their images with a keyword in it. I want my name in it because if somebody puts in Google Sarah Bates Design or Sarah Bates Designer, I want to come up. And if you go to images, if you try this, if you go to images, my images come up because for years I've been putting my name, whether it's logo designer, brochure, whatever it would be, as a named image whenever I've put anything up on social or the internet, on my blog page or my actual website. So I've called it this, okay? Now I know I'm going to just download page 2. So I don't want to publish to Twitter because I just want control over it and just to see it. So I want to be able to go to download. It's a ping file. It will automatically come up as a ping file. And I want to go to pages. And I want to go make sure I am downloading page 2 and then done and then download. And that really is it. I wanted to kind of go through the process because it's really important you get these words right. And if you go back to, you know, the fact that you can use things you've already done. You don't have to re-upload them again. You don't have to resize them again. Copy something from another page. And, you know, if we go up here and we go to Twitter headers, it will come up with hundreds and hundreds of these headers. And if you think it's a little bit difficult to start to design from scratch, by all means, use one of these. Just click it. And what will happen is that you can then start to change this. So you could go here. This is a really nice picture, but you could actually go to elements. You could go to photos. You could type in, I don't know, it might be a cafe. Coffee. More or less the same, isn't it? But I could actually pick one of these images. Sorry, I'm going to click and drag it in. So I clicked and dragged it because that's already like a background image. And if I wanted to change it or move it, then I could do. Remember, the crop is really important. So I'm going to move it over that way a little bit. I want it anchored in this bottom corner. Okay, and then if you get these dotted lines around, this just means that it's grouped. The designer who's done this template has grouped it so you kind of keep these elements together, and all you need to do is ungroup it. So you can move these things, you can, you know, select the type, you can change the font to be your brand fonts. Okay, nothing, don't get persuaded by all these beautiful typefaces. Go to your brand. You should know your brand fonts and use them consistently. If this isn't your color, click the color swatch. And what Canva does actually, which is really nice, it brings in the colors that you've got in that photograph, which makes it harmonious. But you really should be using your brand colors. And you should know what they are. And if you don't, upload a logo into Canva. And then just like it's done here, it will bring colors in of your logo. And then you can select that. Can you see there's a hashtag on there? And it will tell you the hex code of your brand color and then use it consistently. So if I wanted that to be my brand color, I'd go here and I could type in the brand color in there and it would come up with it. Okay, so I think that's it for this evening. A little snippet of Canva, how to use it, and a social media. And if you subscribe to my newsletter, those template links and a little check sheet will be coming your way on Thursday. I hope you've enjoyed the training. Thank you. Bye.